Has a top free agent turned down an AEW offer? We're going to talk about that plus much more. Don't forget, we're giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers. So if you want a chance to win, go ahead and click subscribe today. Welcome back to TAS. All right, guys, I want to kick things off with some interesting stuff. Ava Raine, The Rock's daughter, Simone Johnson. Yeah, she's a little bit newer to the wrestling industry. We've seen her as a part of Schism on WWE NXT television. And now Schism is gone, the dyad is gone, Joe Gacy has lost his mind, and it looks like WWE is trying something a little bit different with Ava Raine. And it doesn't appear to be 100% confirmed that Ava Raine is in fact the general manager for NXT, but it sounds like WWE is going to have Ava Raine as part of the leadership team on television for WWE NXT. And more specifically, it looks like she is the one who is going to be brokering matches on NXT television. Now, this is something I'm interested in seeing solely for the fact that Ava Raine is still working on development, right? Like, they're still working on getting her acclimated to pro wrestling, and it's not going to be easy. She's a little bit green, and you know, the thing is, with WWE, I love the idea, especially in NXT, that you could try new things. We saw yesterday on NXT that she made a match official for Deadline between Kiana James and Roxanne Perez. At NXT Deadline, they're going to be having a steel cage match. It's been a great story up until this point. But Ava Raine was the one who made that decision. Now, I've seen how beneficial it has been for WWE Raw and SmackDown to add general managers. Nick Aldis is doing a fantastic job on SmackDown, and Adam Pearce is also doing a fantastic job on Raw. And having general managers just makes things a little bit logical, right? Now, whether or not Ava Raine is referred to as a general manager in NXT, I don't think that part is important. But having a role for her that works, that is. If Ava Raine could really get better in WWE under this type of role, then the beauty of that is that you can have storylines being a little bit more cleaned up with having somebody there on TV, on screen at all times. Because Shawn Michaels, in the past, he would show up on TV here and there, and you know, that's cool, but at the end of the day, Shawn Michaels actually has a legitimate job of producing and running NXT. So having somebody there to be that logical person that says, hey, you guys have beef, go settle it in the ring. That's exactly what WWE needs to do with NXT. And if it's Ava Raine, great. If it's not Ava Raine, there's plenty of other people that they could put there. Obviously, Matt Bloom, William Regal, so forth. So definitely intrigued to see where this goes. Who knows? Definitely interesting stuff, though. WWE is putting a major tease on their television shows. We first saw it with Bray Wyatt when he returned for Extreme Rules. WWE is back with QR codes, and this time, this QR code is actually teasing the return of Cora Jade. There's literally a voiceover. If you scan the QR code with your camera, see you at Deadline. And that voice is Cora Jade. Now, Cora Jade's been missing from WWE television, my friends. So the idea of WWE utilizing QR codes is actually a great thing. It really is. One, it makes the shows interactive because if you see a QR code, you're definitely going to scan it and see what it's teasing. And, you know, I think that makes it fun. Also, Cora Jade being at NXT Deadline is an interesting choice because she is not part of the Iron Survivor Challenge. She's not the number one contender for the NXT Women's Division. Nikita Lyons just returned on WWE NXT. So when you do these QR codes and you tease something, it's probably going to mean something big is going to happen. And I love that. I love the idea of something big happening on a pay-per-view, right? Obviously, we talk about wrestling on this channel, but as I said in my WWE NXT live review post-show, like, the build to Deadline hasn't been the best build. Yes, I'm hyped for the show after last night's episode. It was a great go-home show, but the build was a little bit underwhelming compared to previous NXT pay-per-views. So when you add the element of a QR code, I think that adds a little bit to the excitement. And I feel like we're all going to be relatively happy with the pay-per-view as long as they deliver great matches, great results, and great bookings. So Where Cora Jade fits in WWE NXT in 2023, guys, I don't know. Cora Jade is one of those people who is ready for a main roster call-up. I feel like at this point in time, she could go up to the main roster. She's going to be a rock star for WWE. Now, you also have to factor in, will Cora Jade be a babyface? Will she be a heel? These are things I'm curious about, and the main reason for my curiosity is because Cora Jade, she works really well as a heel, but she also works really well as a babyface. She's one of those girls that I think she's going to kick ass regardless of the situation she's in. But how they implement her back on television is interesting. I give a lot of props to WWE for implementing the QR code stuff. I think it's a fun little creative touch. Again, it makes the shows fun, but also you don't want to overdo it, and it doesn't get overdone in WWE. But if you want to continue to do teases and stuff, put those QR codes on screen every once in a while and just tease things. You know what I'm saying? Just tease things a little bit here and there, and I think people will react very well to it. But definitely something to pay attention to as we get into NXT Deadline this weekend. Cora Jade more than likely returning. They're teasing it, and that's a big return for the women's division. All right, guys, we've talked a lot about Mercedes Varnado, Sasha Banks. A lot of talk here about Sasha Banks and more specifically where she's going to end up going. There's been a lot of rumors that she's headed back to WWE. And what's really strange is that Mercedes herself is teasing it. What's also strange is other WWE superstars are teasing it. And it got me thinking because Dave Meltzer was talking about this recently. Even if she has signed a deal with AEW, there's really no point in announcing it right now. They just announced Will Ospreay. It would be better for her to debut as a surprise than them announce that she has a deal. So her not being announced as having a signed deal, to me, doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if she legitimately hasn't signed, then I can see her going back to WWE easily, especially right now. Look, I think it makes a lot of sense for Sasha to just go back to WWE. I have no problem with Sasha, and I talked about this the other day just a little bit. I said I have no problem with Sasha going to AEW and, AEW, TNA, New Japan, that type of thing. Do it for one more year. I literally have no problem with that whatsoever. The big thing is with AEW, I think they have gotten very comfortable with the idea of having people just debut and the start and stop pushes. They make these big announcements, and unfortunately, even if the creative is really, really, really good, the attendance is low, TV ratings have dropped, merchandise sales aren't as high. The product in terms of a business sense, like actual business, with like the physical nature of the business, it's a little bit colder right now. So you bring in Mercedes. If she were to come into AEW, just theoretically, you have to announce it ahead of time. There's no clickbaiting people into watching an episode of Dynamite just to find out she signed. Get people to watch because Sasha Banks is going to be there. That's how I look at it. And ultimately, look, Mercedes is a hell of a talent. I think she deserves to get her proper WWE run. I feel like WWE always did well with her in the past, but there's obviously a little bit of a sour taste with the way Vince McMahon utilized her, and I think we all know Triple H could utilize her a lot better. You got Jade Cargill, you got Bianca Belair, you got Charlotte Flair, you got Bayley, you got Becky, you got Rhea Ripley. You have a plethora of women in NXT who will have amazing matches with Sasha. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of room for big marquee matches for Sasha in WWE. And the reality is, I said this on my NXT Live review show, there was more women featured on a 2-hour episode of NXT than there was across Rampage, Dynamite, and Collision. That's not a hate remark. That's not me, being a dickhead to AEW. That's just me telling you the honest truth that NXT utilizes their women's division a lot better than AEW. And there's a lot of NXT women who can get a major rub from moving up to the main roster and working with Sasha. So a lot of great benefits there. We'll see what happens, but it doesn't look like Sasha will be going to AEW. It doesn't look like she's signed with AEW. And, that's not necessarily shocking, but at the same time, too, maybe it would be better if she did go because it would probably help AEW a lot more.